So a while back, when we had a nice day late in the winter, I was able to paint the drag link and the tie rods, and I decided to get polyurethane boots for the tie rod ends, so I'm going to put those on, and they just slip on over the stud. Wanted to make sure that was in the frame. There you have it. I'm going to take off the nut there. It must have got some paint on it and made it tight, so I'll take off the other end and replace that one as well. And I'm going to leave those off while I put it back onto the chassis. So as I was trying to turn this off, it was spinning a little bit. You could see the ball joint spinning, so a little bit of lateral pressure on it allowed me to loosen it. So there we have the other one. So I'll do the second tie rod end and put the drag link onto the chassis. Okay, I hope you can hear me over the noise of the motorcycles next door. What I'm going to do again is just put the pitman arm on loosely because I don't want to torque it on or anything, because I may need to undo it later on. You know what, I think maybe I'll put that on after I've already got the drag link up a little bit. Take the drag link and hook up the idler arm first. This is a carriage bolt through the frame that will hold it in place. I'll get a nut on it to keep it from, and I can see already I got the wrong socket out. I need a deep one, I got a shallow one. But I'll get that sorted so that it can't fall off, and make sure that, okay, this goes in from the bottom, so that will be fine if I put the pitman arm on first. So that's what I'm going to do. And again, I'm not going to torque this on because I might have to take it off and move it depending on how the steering wheel lines up when I'm all done with this. And there's a mark here on the pitman arm that allows you to line it up with one of the 4 pieces that, or slots I should say, in the gear that are in the splines. So it can only line up one of 4 ways, but I don't know how the steering gear is set. I can put the drag link connection back up. I'm not going to tighten this all the way and cotter pin it either. Matter of fact, it probably won't cotter pin any of them. Till I'm ready to be finished with the install here. There's another bolt here that holds the top part of the idler onto the frame. Those are 9/16 sockets, or nuts, I should say. Holding wrench isn't the right size, not holding anything. I can put this on a bit. This wrench, but I need a deep. I'll finish that off with a deep later. And now the tie rods can go up. Those are different size bolts. 5/8 nut goes on those studs. Okay, that tie rod ball joint type thing is spinning in the socket, and so is that one. I'm gonna have to get some pressure on them somehow so that the nuts will go on. Going on a little bit. Not tight enough yet though. To get a pry bar behind that, put some pressure on it so that it tightens. Once that stud gets firmly against the hole in the drag link or in the steering connector, they will tighten up. I've got a clamp on that, kind of holding it cockeyed so that it gets some plate on it. So hopefully that will work. And I'm going to squeeze on that because as it tightens, it's probably going to loosen up the clamp. No, that's not doing it. Try that same technique on the inner tie rod end. I think I can get a better grip on it here. Different size ball. That's actually working. But I actually ran out of juice in my battery here. Hey, make a trip to the house to get the other battery. Should have brought it with me. Okay, I got a fresh battery, got a pry bar. Let's see what happens next. And what I think I'm going to do on the other one is I'm going to take it over to the wire wheel, and I'm going to off those threads so that the nut has less resistance. I'm still not getting it. It's going some. Not as much as I'd like it to, as quickly as I'd like it to. There you go. Now it's tight. But I still am going to take this other one and clean up the threads on the wire wheel. Just so that I have less resistance on the threads and more resistance from the shaft of the stud. Dirt I knock off doesn't go into the ball joint. Wear my safety glasses, so that's why I didn't have to put any on while I was doing that. Move this back the other way. Hard to do from under there. It's easier to do when you grab onto the brake drum. But I'll turn it all the way this way or more this way because the other spindle is not connected to anything. It'll move freely. At least freer than this one. Still not easy to move. That one, having clean threads, went right up. And that one between the threads, went right in. All right. I need a deep 5/8, deep 9/16, so that I can tighten that carriage bolt nut, because that one went all the way through and sticks out pretty good on the inside. So I had it almost all the way with the short one. It is in on the frame. Okay. Could be a little tighter. Tough angle to get the wrench in on. Try it the other way. Am I going to need an extension there? I'm going to need an extension. I can see much better to get the wrench on this way, and it'll be easier to get the socket on from the other side with an extension. Okay, that wasn't even in the frame. There's the carriage bolt. And on the other side, there's a bolt and a nut that goes through, a bolt that goes through and threads onto a nut. I was having trouble getting it on the wrench on the outside here. So I'm going to try it with the extension. Yeah, much better. Power wrench isn't doing me any good here, but other than holding it, and that's good. And the cotter pin holes on these two ends of the tie rod ends are lined up. So I'll just have to check the two that connect to the steering link. That's a tight steering system. Oops. Couldn't see that either. I was moving the brake drums back to straight ahead. So that's kind of it for the front steering system. Trying to get a good view of it here. And like I said, I'll come back and I'll put those cotter pins in later as my final checks and steps, lubricating and that when I'm ready to go. But here's your boot over here. You can't see it. Oh, maybe you can. Oh. There's the tie rod in. Let's see if I can get some light on it here. The light doesn't do much good. It's too far away. Let's see if we can see it from this side. Can't see it much from here either. There's the inner tie rod end right there on the driver's side. And that's the end of the drag link. You can see the Pitman arm right here. The other rod below it is actually the idler arm from the other side. So there's the whole steering system, at least under the car, is in.